praises and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to the sons of Yakim, pushing this truth all over the world. Shalom, keep pushing. But we're going to get into this article. It says dozens of Ukrainian men and boys allegedly raped by Russian soldiers. UN probe. It says the UN is investigating dozens of cases of Ukrainian men and boys allegedly being raped by Russian soldiers, and what an agency and boy warned could be just the tip of the iceberg. I received reports not yet verified about sexual violence cases against men and boys in Ukraine, and Pramila Patten, UN Special Representative on Sexual Violence and Conflict, during a press conference in Kyiv on Tuesday. Patton urged all alleged victims of sexual violence to report the crimes to the authorities so they could be documented and the perpetrators brought to account, although she noted that it could be difficult for men to come forward. It's hard for women and girls to report rape because of stigma amongst other reasons, but it's often even harder for men and boys to report, she said. According to The Guardian, we have to create that safe space for all victims to report cases of sexual violence. Standing side by side with Olha Stefanishyna, Ukraine's deputy prime minister for European integration, Patton said dozens of cases of rape so far have crossed her desk only represent the tip of the iceberg. Patton explained she had decided to travel to wartime Kyiv because she could not stay in her office in New York in the face of harrowing reports of sexual violence. She added, "I'm here because we must spare no effort to ensure zero tolerance and consistent consequences for these crimes." Here it is. They trying to put it off on like Russia is the only one that rapes men and boys over there. You got those Ukrainian soldiers over there doing the same thing, who are Edomites, just like the Russians. They just Russian Edomites, but their biblical name is Edomites, Edom. And this is what the so-called white man does. He loves little boys, especially. He may be raping young men, but rest assured, he's definitely raping little boys. And that's the Russians and the Ukrainian side. Both of them are big homosexuals, Ukrainian's Prosecutor General Irina Venediktova said during a separate press conference Tuesday in the ravaged Kyiv suburb of Irpin that the Kremlin had been deploying sexual violence against civilians as a tactic to force Ukrainians to surrender. She called Russian President Vladimir Putin the main war criminal of the 21st century. No, the so-called white man is the main war criminal, ever since the Renaissance. This so-called white man, he loves war, he loves violence, he loves death and disease. So you can't just put that on Putin. You gotta put that on all so-called white men. They are the war criminal of the world. The earth's polluted, the water, the air, the minds of the people. Everything is destroyed by this war criminal, the so-called white man, Esau Edom. Venediktova said Ukrainian investigators were collecting information on allegations of rape, torture, and other suspected war crimes by Russian forces which had occupied Irpin for a month before the Ukrainian military liberated the city. Venediktova said the allegations included rape of women, children, and an old woman. Asked whether rape was a deliberate Russian strategy in the war, she told a news conference, "I am sure actually it was a strategy. Not only just horny men in war and all this killing and, adrenaline pumping, that turns these soldiers on. Hearing people crying, blood all over the place, explosions going off, it makes these men sexually aroused. And they putting their penis in whatever hole they can find over there. They've been at war for 2 months, and most of them ain't had a chance to get home to their boyfriends, and wives or whatever. or they little boys that they got tied up in a dungeon. So yeah, they horny. It says this, of course, is to scare civil society to everything to force Ukraine to capitulate. She said Russia has previously denied targeting civilians and has rejected allegations that its forces have committed war crimes in Ukraine. Back in Kyiv, Patton echoed Veneta Dakota's words, saying that for too long the world has allowed sexual violence to be used as a cheap, silent, and effective weapon to terrorize entire populations into submission. Where's the big outcry from the UN? Where is the big outcry from the UN when those American troops was over there raping the Iraqi women and boys and children? And believe me, all of them do it. The British, the French, the Spanish, all Edomites, the Australians, they all go over there. Whenever, if they've been to war, they go over there raping. That's just the one that just comes along with war, taking the booty, literally. But the so-called white man, you know, he comes for man on man or man on boy action. So they all are involved in this. And when the U.S. was over there during the Iraq War, they were doing the same thing, even to the women too, man. So let's not get that twisted, man. It's just what the so-called white man does. And rape is just a part of war. If you want to, you could read a little bit more in the article where it talks about the sexual violence against people, men and women and children over there in Ukraine. So we're going to get some precepts in. We can go to Daniel 11:37. It says, neither shall he regard the power of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any power, for he shall magnify himself above all. So yeah, it says, neither shall he regard the power of his fathers. Yeah, Abraham and Isaac, Isaac being Esau's father, he don't follow the true living power that his fathers served, man. Esau, he's serving his own power, and he serves the spiritual demon Satan. Because when Esau was under Isaac's roof, believe me, he followed the laws. The law, statute, commandments when he was under Isaac's roof. But he started. He screwed up when he wanted that red pottage, and it wasn't fully done yet. That's when Esau. That was the beginning of his downfall. That was that's when he was going into sin. Then because he knew the law. You're not supposed to be eating no raw meat. Or half done meat with blood in it. And that was the beginning of Esau's, falling away from the law, statute, and commandments, man. And he says, for he shall magnify himself above all. Yeah, he does think has more power than, Yahweh the Most High. And he definitely believes that he has more power than Yahweh Shah. This man is, extremely proud. So he think he has more power than the Creator. And like I said in the scriptures, he don't desire women. He procreates. He might be attracted to a woman, and he might be married to a woman or something like that, but he doesn't desire that woman. Jake, we spend time with our women. We desire women. You see Jake in the street. We watching, a woman walk by, admiring her beauty, her curves, her looks, when you run across Jake looking at naked pictures, Jake looking at photos of chicks and bikinis and stuff like that, and you go on the so-called white man phone, he's showing you pictures, he's showing you hunting trips, pictures of fish, his guns, him cleaning his guns and stuff like that. This man don't desire women. The so-called white man, he desires materialistic crap, guns, and he desires man's flesh, little boys' anuses, especially little boys, boys from the ages of infant up to about 11, 12 years old, or maybe even 13. 13 might be too old for him, but he definitely, desires boys' butt, man. We're going to get another precept here. We're going to go to Job, 27:14. And it says, if his Job 27:14, if his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. So yeah. It says, if his children, meaning Esau, Edom, his children, the so-called white man, be multiplied, it's for the sword. So yeah, you see these Edomite men, they got all these kids, and they got these families and things, but it's just to be mowed down eventually, for the sword, which is coming. All these Edomites in America gonna be nuked to a crisp, and the ones that survive, all over the rest of the world, they are gonna be rounded up, and they're gonna be get put in slavery, and then when we get them in our kingdom, the kingdom of heaven, yeah, they're gonna be getting the sword too, So get ready, Esau, Edom, the real man in the earth about to rule again. You don't want your women. Guess what? We're gonna absorb them into the, when I say we, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the children of Israel, we're gonna take those women. The good-looking ones only. From cute to good-looking. We're gonna take them women, and they're gonna be part of our concubines, man. And we're gonna show you, how you supposed to treat a woman. What them curves do, what them hips do, what that mouth do. We're gonna do that. So you get ready, and you just get ready, Esau. Keep desiring, men's flesh, which he gonna keep doing that anyway, up until he destroy it, up until, Obadiah 1:18. This man, he's always gonna be desiring another man's butt, even in the kingdom of heaven, and he's gonna be dealt with accordingly to the law on how you handle that situation. But I just wanted to get into it with this article about Esau Edom, the so-called white man. He's into little boys primarily. He's into little boys, and it no matter what Edomite it is, Russian, Spanish, French, Australian, they all in the boys, and they don't desire women. But I just wanted to bring this article out, and I pray it was edifying. And to the Sincere man, keep pushing. Shalom.